Chapter 19 is called Deal with a Bully. And so I want to say that one of the most applicable places or spaces for the advice in this chapter is actually online arguments. It's a really good way of thinking about it. So what he's trying to draw your attention to in this chapter is that when somebody is either bullying you actually, or you could just say, picking an argument or a fight with you and, maybe taking it too far, that probably that person has ceased to be a persuadable audience, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a persuadable audience. So, you always have the option, especially in an online space, of just ignoring them and not engaging, which is personally something I have been trying to do because I don't have time to argue with people on the internet right now. But if you choose to engage with them, sometimes it can be helpful to realize that probably you're not going to change their mind, but there may be other onlookers whose minds can be changed, who may be able to be persuaded. And so they are your persuadable audience. And you want to frame all your responses to the bully or whoever it is that you're arguing with in terms of how could those onlookers be persuaded, both with what you say and also how you choose to engage. And I will say personally, this is a struggle. Like when I know somebody's wrong, I have a really hard time holding back, letting them know all the ways that they are wrong and all of the evidence I have that they are incorrect. And sometimes, I hope it's not much recently, but I definitely know in the past, I've kind of been a jerk arguing with people online, like just overloading them with information, trying to make them look stupid and things like that. That does not make me persuadable to anyone. Not to them, but not to anybody else who happens to be, privy to the conversation as well. Because it'll make me look bad in their eyes too. It doesn't make me persuasive. And if I'm being a jerk, they're not necessarily going to want to listen to what I have to say, even if I am right. And so the idea of this chapter that I think is really useful is thinking about those onlookers and how can you respond to this person in a way that might persuade those other people who might see the conversation, whether it's hearing it in real life or reading it online. How can you conduct yourself in a way that makes you persuasive? And by being calm, by treating the person with respect, even if they don't deserve it, refusing cheap shots. All of those are ways that you can make yourself more persuadable because it's boosting your ethos. All those things we talked about last week about things like virtue and practical wisdom and disinterest and decorum, like all of those things, if you do those well, you're making yourself more persuadable to those other people. It doesn't matter if the bully's not convinced. What matters is that those other people might be convinced and see you as worth listening to, because while this person's being super crazy, you're responding to them very rationally and not taking the bait and things like that. So there's a lot of really useful stuff in here that I think can help, definitely in online spaces, but there's applications and times where this comes up in real life, and how we choose to interact with that person who may not actually be persuadable themselves, could still persuade other people along the way. And then just one other quick strategy he mentions, he calls aggressive interest. And just if somebody is engaging with you, and it could be part of the same strategy, instead of directly arguing with them and telling them that they're wrong, you can just keep asking them for more information until it comes across that they maybe don't have the support for their beliefs and stuff that they think they did. So you just keep asking for questions. You ask them for evidence. You can ask questions about the evidence. Oh, does this person have a degree in this? Or are they just a person who published a blog on the internet? That kind of stuff. But you can get a lot of mileage out of just asking questions. And when you're asking questions, it makes you look like you're interested, and it also sort of reduces the chances for you to come off kind of jerkish toward them, and it makes you seem like the better person, which again makes you more persuadable to your possibly persuadable audience. So that's this chapter in a nutshell. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bully, but it does tell you how to deal with conflict and how to sort of set your goals and think about who you have that you could persuade in this situation, even if it's not that person you're actually arguing with.